This week's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Illegal Pete's. New year, new diet? Well, quit pushing it off because Illegal Pete's has what you need. With endless options of fresh ingredients that can fit almost any diet or dietary restrictions. It's a no-brainer. Eat Pete's just for the health of it. Check out one of their 2 locations in Tempe and Tucson for happy hour, 3 to 6 p.m. every single day. Not doing happy hour this month? We'll try out a refreshing Hoplark Citra at any Illegal Pete's location. It's everything you love about an ice-cold beer, except it's dry, January-friendly. Illegal Pete's is always my go-to spot for burritos, buddies, and beer, and I want to thank them for being sponsors of the podcast. Nice to have them back, and nice to have y'all back. What's good, y'all? Welcome this week's episode of Talks with TVBOO. Welcome this week's episode of the podcast. Hope you're all having a great week, and thank y'all for being here, man. We have a fucking phenomenal guest today, an incredible guest. Before I introduce this guest, I'm going on tour with Big Gigantic, dude. Some of my favorite artists on the planet, dude, since I've been into dance music. Hitting the road with them next month. Going to be on their bus, which is going to be cool as hell, man. This is going to be fucking awesome. But yeah, man, I'm going on tour, only, just hitting a couple cities with them, but you'll see me around. We got a bunch of shows announced, and I'm just writing the best music I've ever written at the moment, and I'm feeling good about life, man. But enough with all that. Let's get to this episode. My guest today is one of those behind-the-scene killers, just a pure fucking sniper, dude. A very renowned artist manager, very respected within the industry. If you're out there and you're thinking about working in the industry or maybe artist managing, this guy is literally just throwing out fucking golden nuggets this entire episode, man. He's an artist manager. He is a manager of Wakaan, and he's the talent buyer for Wakaan Fest. And he's been in this industry for a very long time, done a lot of really cool stuff, and worked with a lot of really amazing people. I'm going to let it get into it so you can hear it from his mouth. Ladies and gentlemen, Loper.
Come here, girl, 'cause that ass fat. Let me take my tongue and go bang your dirt track. I met a girl and her booty tastes like strawberries. I swear to God, this could be the one that I'm marrying. Hey, hey, and she's so different. I made that from behind. I met a girl and her booty tastes like strawberries.
Lope Dog.
Yo,
Loper.
Loper.
Yeah, dude. Let's go, baby.
How are you?
I'm asking the questions here, motherfucker.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm okay. I don't like flying. Just flew in just to do this. Then I'm going to leave right after. So.
No, that's fake news.
Truth.
That is fake news. For somebody who hates... how do you hate flying, bro? You fly first class, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, dude, if you weren't in first class and, you were sitting next to me, I'd be pissed off, dog.
I'd be pissed off too.
Yeah, I'd be mad as hell.
Yeah, it's like I don't like you see those chunky people that get walk on flights and you're just like, oh God, please keep going. I feel like that's what people are thinking about me.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I fly a lot, it's like I have status and I'm always the first person on the plane, if not, at least top 5.
Mm.
And so by the time they get on, I'm already reading, looking at Instagram,
yeah, dude,
texting people, emailing people,
watching porn.
No, making phone calls, doing the Lord's work.
Got you. Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, I like being comfortable. And I think we are creatures of habit. So it's like, I would say probably 90% of my flights, I sit in the exact same seat on a different plane. I mean, when I hired Bree and I was like, hey, you're going to, book some of my travel. I mean, the conversation of me explaining to her why I use the logic to sit where I sit on a plane that was a cool 3 or 4 hours.
Dude, I had to teach Sharky how I like to sit too, man.
No, it's an art. I mean, I was like, I need to sit on the left side of the plane because if something happens, my right arm is way stronger and it needs to be available to save America if needs be.
Yeah, dude. Good. I
and
like that.
That was the logic of being on the left side of the plane.
I like that mindset, dude.
So, Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, dude, I know. I used to fly Spirit all the time whenever I was first starting out. Like, dude, Spirit was, people talk a lot of shit. Spirit was good to me for a long time.
Was
dude.
it?
Well, I mean,
I've never flown Spirit.
dude,
I've never flown Frontier. I've only flown American, Delta, and United. And
well, bless your heart.
I know. No, well, so the reason why I started paying for like more expensive flights is because I flew cross country, back of the plane, and I got stuck. I mean, like, I'm not small, but I got stuck between in the middle seat between two bodybuilders going to a competition.
Damn, were you fucking bricked up the whole time?
I was literally like a mash. Like both of their arms were like mid body, and I was just like, no,
yeah,
I can't do that.
Yeah, dude. So, I see two bodybuilders walking to my seat. I'm like, thank God. Yes.
No, you say that till you rip 5-6 hours, and you're like, no.
Yeah, fuck
this
this noise.
Terrible idea.
Fuck this noise.
And
dude.
then there was this story. Like, there was another time I was in the back, and we hit some turbulence. And in the back of the plane, you can feel it a lot more. And I do not like flying. Always, never have. Like, I think about death like almost the entire time. Pretty morbid.
That's like the worst thing.
Yeah, no, I have a system. Like every time I get on the plane, it's, we take off, and then there's I count to basically 30 to 35 Mississippi, contingent on how fast I'm counting.
Got you.
I'm waiting for that first sting because the probability of plane crashes are always when you're taking off and coming down.
Yeah.
So as soon as I hear that first sting, I'm like, dodged another one.
Yeah, dude.
Until I get down. Yeah, there was one time we hit turbulence, and like I literally, like, I'm sitting across the row from this mother holding this newborn baby. I mean, I don't know if it was a newborn, but it was fresh. It was straight out the womb. So.
Yeah, it was cooling down,
Yeah, and it was, it started getting bumpy, and I remember, like shrieking, and I just look over at her, like wondering if I'm like, oh, did that actually come out? It did, and it was a big old fat daddy curse word, loud as fuck, and woke the baby, and she was
the baby's first word.
She was not happy with me, and at that between those two stories, I was just like, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
So.
The baby's like, God damn it!
Yeah, it's like this baby can talk. That's crazy.
Yeah, dude. I heard this comedian have a joke. He was like getting on a flight, and they had this thing. It was like 9/11, never forget. And he's like, dude, can we forget about it for like 3 hours? Like, I don't want to think about it right now.
No, there was a time, like, I've had some weird flights. Like, my old partner and I were on our way to EDC Orlando, and like the plane caught on fire.
Whoa.
And like right after we took off, the stewardess came sprinting, like Carl Lewis, full-fledged sprint. And we're sitting near the turbines outside, or whatever they're called.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, sir, can you lift up your window? Because we'd been smelling smoke ever since we took off, and I was like, no.
I will not.
Sir, please raise your window thing. I was like, she hops over us. She's like, yep. And I'm like, oh, great. Look out. Yep. See flames. And so we emergency land, turn around, emergency land. And I told my partner, and I was like, dude, we are not getting back on that plane no matter what. If they keep the same plane, we are out. Not doing it. I've had the things come down where you save yourself, put on the mask sort of thing. That's happened.
Dude, you just got some fucking bad luck, man.
Yeah, no, it's
I don't blame you now for hating that. Then.
Yeah, no, it's not fun. And then and so I'm always like groggy, and we were talking about it on the way over here, and I was just like, dude, it's like every time I fly, I feel like crap. So, and I'm still one of those people that wear masks, not because I'm like super concerned about COVID, but after experiencing that, it's just like, dude, people are gross. I'm gross. I don't want to give you my shit, and I don't want you to give me yours.
Yeah, dude, you're nasty.
So, and then the moment I get off the plane, I'm like, I can't breathe. This flight, it was like super hot. It was like a sweat lodge. It was a hot box.
Oh, dude. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because like COVID's over, but like now I see people wearing masks. Like I'm like, you fucking nerds. These dorks.
It's coming back, man.
Yeah,
it's
dude,
coming back.
I think I had it over Christmas again, bro. But I fucking, because everyone like that I was around had it, dude. But we were still just drinking whiskey, having a good time, man.
I really did not. I mean, like, look, there was a lot of challenges during the pandemic, and people lost a lot of money and that sort of thing. But like, in my experience, it was honestly the first time in my entire career where I was actually able to like shut off and like reset. And honestly, I mean, even though I wasn't making any money, I loved it. So, I think it's important to diversify for that reason in case it ever happens again. But, it's like 4:00 rolls around. You're just like, I think I'm gonna start playing some FIFA and drinking some wine, or
yeah, dude. I was playing some fucking Call of Duty, drinking whiskey with the boys, man.
maybe I'll take up some cooking.
Yeah, dude.
So I had a great time.
Fuck yeah. You mentioned your career. I mean, as much as we'd love to talk about the pandemic and flying.
Oh, I thought that's what this was about.
Great topics, by the way. For people who don't know you, I mean, because I feel like you're a powerful man in this industry, dude. You're the behind the scenes sniper. For people who don't know you, tell them exactly who you are and what you do.
So on my tax forms, I say that I am in music consulting. And essentially what I equate that to is...
Get a little bit closer to the mic if possible. I mean, you can move it towards you.
Is that better?
Yeah, dude, but you can move it towards you.
How do you feel about that?
Put it in your mouth and I'll feel a lot better. Yeah, dude.
Dude, I love corn dogs, and
you're talking
I've
to
done that.
You're talking to the corn dog master.
I had two corn dogs last night.
Dude, I had corn dogs 3 times last week.
There's a weird hair. Now that I just put this whole thing in my mouth, there's a weird hair on here.
It's because you've been sucking so much dick, dude. Those pubes staying in your teeth.
It was here before I got here.
You're not the only one to put your mouth on that.
You're not actually.
Great. COVID callback.
That's a good point,
For all
Kyle.
you aspiring comedians, that's a callback.
Yep. But explain to people who you are and what you do.
Yeah. So I manage artists. I own a company called Optimystic Endeavors. And actually, the Endeavors part came from your LLC entity.
Mine?
Yeah, I was very inspired by. I was like, dude, Mitch's company's name is Taboo Endeavors, and I love that word. Can't spell it, but I love it.
I cannot. No.
I think it's great. And
ask Siri.
and I think like I was in an entity and had a company back in the day that I started with an old partner called Warpath Group. We did like management and booking, and that was awesome, and I loved it. But I just wanted to like do my own thing, and at the time I didn't know if I was going to stay in music. But after kind of like doing some soul searching and analyzing if this was like what I should do, I kind of felt like, well, it's kind of like how I'm wired. So continued on, started this company called Optimistic Group. Changed the name to Optimistic Endeavors, and essentially I manage artists, and I run a record label called Wakaan and Sasquan with Liquid Stranger. I am the talent buyer of Wakaan Festival. And yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So
who all do you manage? Do you name drop?
So my clients that I look after I'm going to try to go in order. I do Cannabis, Champagne Drip, Liquid Stranger, Lucid, Janston. Went out of order.
You're going to alphabetical order, dude. That's fucking impressive.
I'm thinking about it in my email.
Got you.
Because I have folders for everybody, and then subfolders and subfolders for that. And then Lucid, I do, let's see. I know I'm missing people, but you kind of put me on the spot. So I don't forget anybody and I don't hurt anybody's feelings. It's probably easier to just do it like
dude, you're
this.
hurting all of our feelings, dude. Fucking this guy don't even know.
No, I know.
Okay.
But I just don't want to leave anybody out. Because you do an Instagram post and you're just like, fuck.
Yeah.
I forgot Bree or Chloe.
Yeah, dude.
Or somebody. So I'm actually gonna roll reverse it, and we're gonna go start from the bottom. Vale, TVBOO, Trip Street, Sully, Ravenscoon, Lucid, Liquid Stranger, Jansen, Champagne Drip, and Cannabis.
It's a solid roster, dude.
Yeah, I have great clients. I'm super happy. This is the best my roster's ever been.
Really? How long have you been doing artist management for?
I mean, my first band that I ever played in, I kind of helped with that. And then I got kicked out of the band.
What'd you play?
Bass guitar.
You look like a bassist.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a stigma, but I was horrible. And then I managed the band after I got kicked out of the band because I was really good friends with the guys, and it was a way better fit. So, and then that led into managing some other bands, getting them signed, and you know, that kind of started my journey. And then I got a call from the manager of the Flaming Lips, Scott Booker, and he's like, "Who the fuck are you? Why do I keep hearing your name pop up? Come into my office and, you know, let's chat." And it was, you know, I went in there and he was like, "Do you know who the Flaming Lips are?" I was like, "I've heard of them, but you know, that terrible song Jelly or whatever it's called."
I love the Flaming Lips. Too.
Yeah, well, and you know, after I became more educated, I was a bit naive, but after I became more educated, I was like, oh, you know, they're a great band. And then I worked in that office for a while, was doing my own thing, also with my own artists, and then all my bands basically quit. And then I was like, well, shit, I don't want to get like a real job. So, and I was, you know, doing concert promotion. I toured. Like right out of high school, I started touring and toured for 4 years.
With your band as a bassist?
Yeah, and met a bunch of cool people, met a bunch of record labels, and you know how it is on the road. You just run into people, meet them, keep, you know, relationships up, and then, you know, they were like, you're from Oklahoma. We actually need a show in Oklahoma. Would you be willing to help us out? And then that kind of segued into me becoming a promoter, and basically teamed up with this guy, started this production company, and then we booked a lot of shows. Like we had the college accounts for Oklahoma University, OU, and OSU, and UCO, and you know, a handful of others, and then that kind of expanded into being able to like book small shows, and then that kind of grew into, you know, doing like mid club type stuff that was, you know, 400 or 500, 600 cap. And then that grew into doing bigger shows. And, you know, then we did a couple arenas and you know, I've booked like, I mean, everybody under the sun.
Sounds like you had the setup for being a promoter though. I
Well,
mean, having all the colleges and shit. I mean, that's
yeah,
a fucking setup.
College is red tape. It's a pain in the ass, but it's free money. So, and you know, I know a lot of people that have gotten their start doing like being a part of like college chairs and like, you know, doing that, and you know, like it's a good gig. It's fun. If you're interested in music, I highly suggest getting involved because there's somebody on your campus that probably does it. So, but we were the people that actually like sought out the talent and then worked with the student life organizations to then bring in said artists. So, and then we also did our own thing outside of that. So, but I mean, you know, like I booked like Kesha's first show, like club show on tour. That was really fun. Well, I don't know if it's fun, but it's like, you know, it's like
Interesting, dude.
Yeah, I mean, like I've booked a lot of stuff. Like I did Bone Thugs and Harmony. They got into a fist fight at our show
With each other or with fans?
each other on
Yeah.
stage.
That happens, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
and-
if you're in a band, you already know.
But I also was able to like be helpful and book and be a support system to like, you know, our local club, and like, you know, basically being able to book things that I would never have an opportunity to do. Like, you know, we booked My Chemical Romance
No shit.
in a 600 cap room.
No shit.
Booked The Killers in a 450 cap room. Like, we were able to book like a lot of stuff back in the day. And you know, I at the time I got to book like all of my favorite bands. Like, I was very much into like punk rock and hardcore, and I mean, like for a while, like my favorite band at the time was like this band called Save the Day on Vagrant Records, and I mean, I was able to book them. I booked A Day to Remember. I remember when I met the lead singer of Save the Day. They had just released this record called Stay Where You Are, Stay What You Are, Stay something like that. It's been a while since I listened to it, but I literally like I don't get intimidated by famous people. Like, it's not my thing. I met a lot of people, whatever. But I remember meeting the lead singer, and I was like scared to talk to him. And I was like, dude, it's like your band means so much to me, man. Like, I fucking like literally like was weeping by the end of it.
Dude, I did that with the drummer of A Day to Remember. It was at Buku, and they have like the artist mansion, and he was just chilling at the bar, and I was that guy.
Yeah,
I was totally that guy.
I mean, I think it's cool. Like, I mean, there's a tactful, polite way to do it, but you know, it's like it was a great experience because it gave me a lot of like real life education. I never went to college. I ended up teaching college, but like I never actually went, and I was an adjunct professor for a while at UCO, which is a local 4-year.
So you did like a whole semester?
Oh, I did multiple years.
Damn, dude. I had two.
I never went, but I was employed by the university teaching music management for, I think it was like 4 years.
I got asked to go speak at Tulane whenever I lived in New Orleans, and I remember just talking in the class. It's like big panel, and I was just like, you know, how many people in here want to do music full time? And they all raised their hands. I was like, y'all are wasting your time being here right now. Like, not in this talk, but like, if you guys want to go be in the industry, you need to quit spending 8 hours a day at school and go work in the fucking industry.
That's actually why I got hired, is because they wanted to apply real life management with, you know, a functionality to kind of like educate their students. And I was just like, how many of you, you know, I kind of said the same thing. And like, I think by like, I taught for like 4 years, but like, you know, most semesters I'd start with like 25, 30 kids. And by the time it was done, it was just like I had weeded out all the shit. And I was like, well, you can put your head back down and go back to sleep because you're not going to make it. So you should probably fucking drop this class. So, and I'm not, I can be a bit brutal with my words. So,
yes, you can.
You know, I think after a while it became kind of like, all right, you know, like, I need to get over this and do my own thing. But it was fun for a while. But yeah, I mean, and yeah, I mean, I've been able to do a lot of cool shit through music and that practical education of like putting together offers and sending offers is kind of what gave me the backbone to like start managing people.
Yeah. So. I mean, you started out on stage. Do you ever miss being on stage? No. You like being that behind the scenes guy?
Absolutely. I don't know. Like being an artist is really hard. Like, and I have like clients that are doing really well. I mean, you included, but like, I think a lot of times like fans have this sort of perception of like the fact that like what you do is awesome. And yeah, it is, but it's a job and it's really hard. And the things that maybe you don't think are really all that grueling are actually not all that fun. It's not fun to do press. It's not fun to, if you're in a bad mood, to have somebody come up and, you know, want to like chit chat. And if you don't like give them the attention that, you know, they are putting forth and that's reciprocated, like, you know, you can make a bad impression. You're a fucking asshole and you're a dick. And it's like, well, like, did you ever think that maybe like this dude's trying to eat a triple dipper at Chili's, like in the airport, like hasn't slept? Like, no, they don't. And that's okay. Like, you know, it doesn't, I guess my point is that it's a lot harder to be an artist than what I think most people realize.
Dude, at Wakaan Fest, it was that Thursday night, and I was just there partying, bro. I got fucking
partying?
Yeah, dude.
Oh.
I was fucking trash, dog. And I was walking. I was trying to go see Mike, and people would be like, "Go Taboo," and I'd say, "Shut the fuck up," and they would just die.
Yeah,
Like they thought it was so funny. Like I wasn't genuine, being like, "Shut the fuck up." A little bit, because I'm like, I'm going, shut the fuck up. And it was like one of the best defense mechanisms I've ever used. It's just telling a fan.
There's truth to everything.
Yeah,
So.
it was really funny. Like, they thought it was hilarious, but I was just trash trying to go watch my buddy.
Yeah, no, like all the stuff that like we want our clients to do, like on the management side, to like help sell shows, to like do the marketing, to like, I mean, like it's not super enjoyable. Like you do all those things just like any other job to like be able to have this like release on stage and to write really good songs and to be able to see those kind of like played out live. But I would never succeed as an artist.
Not with that attitude, you wouldn't.
Well, not with any attitude. I would just not be good at it.
I don't know, dude. I could see you being
be
a
a pretty
tech.
shit
I could
artist.
see you being a fucking tech house DJ. And actually, dude, if I'm being real, I could see you playing drum and bass at a biker bar. I don't know why, but I just
Biker bar.
Yeah, dude, like with a bunch of fucking motorcyclists, like the Hell's Angels are in there fucking smoking meth and listening to drum and bass. You're the DJ.
So Hell's Angels listen to drum and bass?
I don't know, dude, but if you're DJing
In this scenario, they do.
yeah, in this scenario, honestly, I feel like with the Hell's Angels, it just has to do with how the DJ looks, and you look hard as fuck, dude. I mean, I could just see you with like a cut off fucking leather vest, fucking smoking a cigarette and playing some drum and bass.
It's funny, like we went to Shambhala like I think it was the last time Liquid Stranger played Shambhala. It was like 4 or 5 years ago, and we got stopped at the border, and they thought we were. I mean, well, they didn't think our collective group were, but they thought I was. In a gang, in a bike gang.
Because you have a shaved head.
I got pulled into secondary screening, and they're like, why do you have all this money? Because I always, like, well, I probably shouldn't say. I always carry a little bit of cash when
I'm
I
going to
travel
rob you, dog.
international, and it's Canada, so you never know what's going to happen up there. But I had like $2,000 in cash on me in my bag, and then I had, like, I mean, like, they thought that we had, like, I don't know, a bunch of like weed on us and stuff, and we didn't. But it was interesting. It's like, it's like getting stereotyped for. It's like, dude, do you know me? Like, I can barely drink, so it is what it is.
That's a lie, dude. I've seen you put it down.
I mean, every now and again, I have wild hair in my ass, but not frequent. It's just too much responsibility.
Yeah.
It's like, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I know you're having a good time whenever you're having a drink. Like, you're like, because you're a very serious man.
Yeah.
And so, like, whenever I see you having a drink, I'm like, all right, he's enjoying himself right now, dude.
Or I'm in a horrible mood, and I'm trying to get in a better mood.
That will do it.
Yeah. So
That'll
it's
do
one
it.
of the two. But, it's like, if I'm at a show, it's to serve a function. I mean, like, very rarely is it to, like, because I feel like I need to be there and just enjoy it. It's like to make sure everything goes according to plan. And it's like, I feel like if I'm going to be hired, the least I can do is like show up and be serious and do my job.
Yeah.
Like if some shit goes sideways, somebody fucking is crowd surfing, breaks their neck, somebody's got to talk to the cops. It's probably going to be me.
Not the promoter.
Them too. But, the promoter defers to management. So it's like, I don't know. I'm not going to be much use if I'm like hammered, trying to explain to him about the corn dogs I ate.
Ossifer, dude. That fucking show is awesome, man. Fucking
Yeah.
sold it out. Fucking.
Yeah.
I don't know why I gave you a southern accent. Like,
I don't know.
I just laid into
Probably
it
because
too.
I'm from Oklahoma City.
Yeah, dude. Fucking bitches were fucking titties out, breaking necks, man. It was awesome. You should have been there.
You should have.
You should have clocked out.
Should have told your boy Ricky that you wanted the show
Yeah.
as an off-duty police officer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just I take my job super serious. I don't forget that I am lucky to do this as a career. I could be working in the mall or something, working at a restaurant or being a bartender or something. So like, I want to perform just as much as the artist, in that sense of like doing my responsibility. And if somebody's going to entrust me with their career and give them guidance, then I feel like the least I can do is try to not fuck it up.
No, yeah, that makes sense, dude. I try my hardest not to do that too.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm here, man. Got some bad news.
I'm canceled, ain't I, dude?
Not yet.
Not yet, dude.
The day's coming though.
I hope not, dude. I really hope not.
Look,
I think I'm gonna be the first DJ to get canceled for fucking verbally sexually harassing other male DJs.
probably. I think after managing Caked Up, I feel like I have like a PhD in crisis management.
How crazy was that, dude?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it was weird actually too, like because I mean at the time like I was also still doing Martin, and my roster at the time was Crisley, Caked Up, Breathe Carolina, and Liquid Stranger.
Man, that's a fucking fat roster at that time too. What year was this?
2015, 16.
Yeah, that's a fat roster at that
Yeah,
time.
the roster was great, but it's just it's like I think after going through that and experiencing some of the things I did, it kind of made this like fundamental shift in me, kind of just be like, you know what, like I want to work with good people, and not that they didn't have their moments. Like that's the thing is like everybody knows all these horror stories and terrors of like artists and things that have been done and said, but like from my experience and vantage point of how most of my clients have treated me, we got along well. I just was dealing with all the bullshit that they would do to other people.
Yeah.
So after that, I was like, I'm going to rethink like who I deem as a solid client. Like, yeah, you can make all the money in the world. And I made a lot of money off, those people. And not that all of them were bad. I'm not saying that by any means. Like they weren't. It was mostly just Caked Up that was problematic, but it showed me that like money was not the reasoning of why I did this. So that's when I started taking a deeper dive on who I wanted to surround myself with. And look, I'm a firm believer that you are who your friends are. So, who you surround yourself with speaks volumes as to who you are as a person.
Yeah, Kyle likes to hit me, so
Yeah.
Probably not hang out with him then.
Yeah, dude.
Soap in a sock.
that his
so
real
it doesn't
hair?
leave bruises.
That is not.
It
There's
is.
yeah. Actually, I was about to say it's not, but I know better.
Is it real?
That's
It is.
real.
Yeah.
It started growing. How old were you when you started going gray?
All the boys in my family start going gray around 15.
That sucks.
It was like this when I was in high school.
But you look hot, dude. Like it works
Thanks,
for you.
baby.
Yeah, it looks good on you.
Yeah, no, I wasn't saying that. I just didn't know. Because it kind
Are
of,
you saying he's hot?
yeah.
I'll take that too, Loper.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it kind of reminds me of like, all due respect, I'm not trying to be mean, but like I wasn't sure like from the podcast, like because it looks like, like one of those like caps that clowns wear, and then they have like the hair that goes down the sides.
Yeah.
But he's always wearing a beanie, so like I didn't know if it was like real.
Dude, I went to a fucking pirate festival.
I'm sorry, what?
A pirate festival. It's just like people dressed up as pirates.
A pirate.
Yeah. And so I wore this my buddy asked him if he had anything for me to wear, and it was like this thing with dreads, but it was like a Jamaican fucking cat, dude. So I'm just at this pirate festival, fucking Rastafari and the hell up,
I mean, pirates did come from the Caribbean.
So,
Could be some dreaded R's.
Arr.
So
Are we going to smoke some weed, man?
Yeah. That's good, dude.
where'd you find this guy?
Where did I find you?
The monkey barrel on the
The Monkey
street.
Barrel. Yeah, it was like when I first moved here. He came to my comedy show. We just fucking
Nice.
kicked
You
it
guys
off.
became friends?
Yeah, he's a photographer out here.
Because he's been with you for a while.
He has, man. Kyle's the fucking man, dude. He's become a really good friend of mine, and
Have you ever done a podcast with him?
every time I do a podcast.
I know, but like actually like him sitting here and somebody else sitting over there.
No, I have not done that yet.
Got it. Well, maybe you
We should do
should.
that one day, Kyle.
Yeah.
That ain't a bad idea.
I'm an idea man.
Yeah.
Too much camera time for me and we might scare everybody away.
I don't know, dude. We're going to
Floating
get
that out there.
a lot more clicks from you. But, dude, was it so from you making that realization, I'm just going to start working with, good people, going from like a Caked Up and Breathe Carolina and Grizzly. And I mean, yeah, you're probably killing at that time. Was it hard to make that decision to say, I'm about to make a lot less money? was that a scary thing having that realization? Like, I'm going to start working with people regardless of like, their size or just people I believe in.
Well, let me clarify. None of those people are bad people.
Yeah, right.
Caked Up they created challenges.
Got you.
But like Chrisley, I had an amazing time with. We had a great run doing a lot of great stuff that, I think Chris is a great guy and a beautiful person. And at the time was like very influential in being able to merge hip hop and bass music. I remember I went to a show in Oklahoma City and it was actually, he was playing and I was like, dude, this is crazy. I've never heard anything like this. Flosstradamus likes to say that they invented that sort of thing. I'm pretty sure Grizzly did, but that's my own take. Maybe I'm biased, but I don't necessarily think that like I went into it being like, I'm going to make less money. This is why I should transition, or I want to work with good people. Artists have their cycles and they run their course. And sometimes your journey as a manager just kind of dissipates into just the end, and it just doesn't work anymore. And I think specifically with like some of those clients, yes, I did make a fundamental change in my head of like, okay, I'm going to stop maybe doing as much mainstream type stuff and focus on people that are good people. And if they happen to be mainstream or if they happen to be underground, that's kind of irrelevant to me. I want to work with people that are not going to take years off my life because they produce issues. I mean, I would get called in the middle of the night and I'd be like literally on the phone with lawyers and all sorts of crazy shit, like, trying to like put out fires and Caked Up made a lot of enemies with a lot of different people. And, look, at the end of the day, that's their prerogative. 'Cause that just kind of is how it goes to some extent. But at the same time, somebody also has to come in and kind of clean up all that and be the person who's still trying to help push along the project because of the commitment that, I guess a manager or managers made. And so for me, I was like, my sanity and my life is, worth more than getting called in the middle of the night. I don't want to, if I'm going to be called in the middle of the night, I want it to be because something happened as opposed to,
like you need you to fix something.
Yeah, like being a fixer, like Ray Donovan style or whatever it is,
Yeah.
And so like somebody broke their neck or like somebody got hurt or, the club caught on fire or whatever, as opposed to, oh, your guys fucking beat the shit out of this kid. What do you want to do? One of them's in jail, like, so it's like, it's like, I just don't want that in my life. And I think everybody kind of has those things, in their life where they kind of have to make a pivotal shift of like, it's almost like you see this thing in front of you and you can take either lane. And I think for me, that's what that was that, okay, you know what? Like the money's whatever. Happiness is the key. So that's what I was trying to focus on.
Got you. You said something a second ago that I wanted to touch on. You're like, an artist runs their course. One of the things that I get scared about and keeps me up at night is like, how can I maintain how can I keep this going? How can I stay consistent? How do I not fall off? From your point of view as an artist manager, what are some things that you think can make one of those cycles be, a long cycle?
I think that there's an inherent value that an artist brings to music. Sometimes that's seasonal, like a certain sound just really cracks off and that artist is really buzzing right then and there because of that. And then sometimes, like you kind of have to go back to the drawing board and be like, okay, this didn't work. how can we find something that is going to work? I think the biggest thing that I would say to that is that, from my experience, the way to continue your career is consistency. I think a lot of people that I've kind of seen lose momentum is because they have not been consistent enough at where they're currently at in their career. You know, like, if you're Zed's Dead or Skrillex or somebody like that, like, you can kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You made it. You're always going to be booked. You're always going to sell tickets. Maybe you're not going to sell as many tickets as you would the time before, but it's not going to be that big of a differential. As an artist is still growing, I definitely believe that, like, there's the consistency piece is, like, probably the most important thing. Like, shutting it down and going into a record too early can be detrimental. Not doing enough to keep up with the fan base. And, you know, that's the thing is, like, I think that there's a lot of things as a manager that we can kind of manufacture in an artist's career to make things look a certain way. But there's also this element that most people don't realize, that it's almost kind of like the stock market, where you're trying to time these things out to yield the best results with what that sort of action item is. And, you know, for my clients, that's what we're focused on, is trying to time, making sure that there's content and there's music consistently over the course of, you know, a 12-month cycle, but doing it in a manner where we can get the maximum exposure or the maximum profitability out of that particular thing, you know? And I think, like, you know, from my experiences, like, I think a lot of times, like, artists kind of forget about the idea of, like, they have, like, their eyes on the prize so much that, like, they forget about the actual journey. Yes, look, if you take care of business on this level, and this level, on this level, on this level, it's going to continue to ramp up. But it's hard to jump tiers strategically and have that not kind of have some fallout there. And I think that that's, like, you know, I feel like I'm a fairly conservative manager in my philosophy of how I like to do things. But, like, in my opinion, the best way to kind of, I guess, kind of try to basically not have that happen is to build in gradual building blocks, like just taking stair steps. Because, look, it's gravity. It's no different than a music career. What goes up must come down. It's inevitable. You are not going to stay at the top. But
Unless you're Taylor Swift.
yeah, but I mean, even her, like, she's had cycles and seasons of, like, things where she won't do anything for 3 or 4 years. Now, when she was at the top, she made enough money to live off of it, which is fine. But because of that expectation of what she did, she was able to come back and with vengeance and break Ticketmaster. But
Hearts, yep.
you know, for us smaller weirdos, you know, I kind of think that when something doesn't maybe go as much your way, I kind of feel like when you kind of take this approach of, like, stair-stepping things, you're only going to fall to that sort of level, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, I kind of like to take things a little bit slower. Like, I think that there's people that, you know, they're like, okay, we're doing really well. We sold 1,000 tickets in this market. Let's go into the room and try to do 7,000. It's like, well,
That's a huge jump, yeah.
that's ridiculous. You shouldn't do that. But
Yeah.
otherwise, you know, maybe you sell 3,000 tickets and that's great, but 3,000 tickets in a 7,000 cap room is still not a sexy percentage. And the promoter is probably going to lose money. So
Yeah.
my that's kind of my philosophy, is that, like, the consistency element of being able to kind of work its way up gradually will make it so that when you're on your way down, that is going to be gradual as well, because you have created this infrastructure and this fan base that's only going to let you drop so far.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion.
Nah, I learned a lot of that stuff from you, man. Like, I guess my philosophy's kind of changed a bit as well. I'm like, I'd rather sell out like a 800 cap room than have 1,200 people in a 1,600 cap room. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with going into a 1,600 cap room, but that's kind of what I was saying about the timing and manufacturing some of these moments. You give me a 1,200 cap show that sold out, or, you know, I forget what your analogy was, but that sold out show, I can then call up my friends and all these promoters and all these different people saying, dude, you just sold out the show at this cap. That's why you need to put them on your festival.
Yeah.
That's why you need to pay him X amount of dollars on this thing and that can benefit you more than being like, oh yeah, he did 1,200 tickets in a 1,600 cap. I don't get to go tell all my friends being like, yeah, we left 400 tickets on the table.
Yeah.
That's not as sexy. So, and that's the thing is, like, I think being able to like kind of like manufacture some of that and take what the artist is doing. And, you know, that's honestly like my whole philosophy with management is like, I'm not here to hold your hand. I'm not here to
I wish you would hold my hand sometimes. That
be the person to do the work for you. I'm here to add fuel to the fire. Like what I'm trying to do is fan the flame of what it is you're already doing that's great, and then kind of trying to make that bigger, and that reaches more people because of good relationships and, you know, history and all these different things.
How hard was that in the beginning, kind of taking someone's idea and just trying to make it, you know, come big, you know, just be bigger, you know, kind of guiding, you know, somebody's career? How hard was that in the beginning? And part two to that question, what was like the like best thing that you learned where you kind of took it to like that next level for you?
Well, I don't even know if I'm going to remember all those questions. But,
I might not either.
I think I don't know. The artist obviously has a gift, and I feel like my job is to just be able to accent that. And, you know, sometimes it doesn't work, but and you know, a lot of times like you're blessed with artists like yourself who, you know, have these all these ideas, and it's just like, I never would have thought of that. But like when you get to that great idea, being able to put a spin on it to maximize what it is, that comes from history. And look, I believe that like no person who goes into a situation managing an artist or being a producer or, you know, working at Subway, you're not gonna build your best sandwich the very first time. Mm-hmm. It takes a long time to build a great sandwich or be a good manager. You know, like I believe it's just, it takes time to kind of develop those kind of characteristics to naturally make you see all the angles as to why something shouldn't happen or why something should. And I think like when I was kind of going through my shit of like being like, do I even want to do this anymore? That was the thing that I kind of went back and found solace in, was the fact that like I feel like I'm wired to do this. Like I see why something's not going to work before having to go do it. Not all the time. I'm still human. I still fuck up, but very rarely is there a ton of collateral damage with my clients in that. So it's like there's, you know, you're able to kind of add value to what it is they're doing. And from drawing on those previous experiences of just doing it for a really long time, you know, like in 2002, what were you doing?
I was trying to learn how to read, you know, that was behind. Everybody else was reading. I was just fucking up, dude. They were like, we got to hold you back. My mom was like, no, he's smart. He's special. And they're like, yeah, he might be special. We should probably hold him back. And we're like, no. And then they taught me how.
See, you were learning how to read, and I was trying to figure out how to manage artists.
Yeah, dude, that's
the thing
crazy.
is the fact that like being able to kind of just draw on some of those experiences of like seeing parallels and trends in the marketplace. It's not necessarily apples to apples, and it's always going to be the same, but you're like, oh, this situation is similar to this, this, and this. And now it's like, you know, I know exactly what an offer should be for this room in Minneapolis when an artist is hot. I know exactly the festival slot we need to play with where, Sully is at in his career, just because I've done that with this artist, this artist, this artist, this artist, this artist, this artist. And you walk through that. And, sometimes you get lucky and they get a little bit bigger and a higher slot and more money. And sometimes maybe they're not as great as what you think. But I think being able to call on that is kind of where I'm able to add a lot of value.
Yeah.
So I don't remember what the follow-up question was.
The follow-up question was where did it start kind of taking that next step for you? Like where you kind of started becoming your own manager? Like you kind of just, kind of caught a new groove, you know what I mean?
I think, and this is going to be really fucking dumb, but like you start working in music and you're like, I just want somebody to take me serious. I just want a response to my email, even if it's a fuck you no.
Yeah.
There's so many people that are so concerned about their own shit. And, look, I always try to answer as many emails as I can from people that I don't know. I'm not perfect at it. I don't answer them all, especially music ones for the label. But I remember what it's like and that feeling of somebody just being like, they're putting their neck out there. They've probably emailed 40 fucking people, pouring their heart out, trying to explain as to why you should pay attention. And that's important to remember that I was there too. And so while I can't answer every single one of them, if you're one of these people listening and you emailed me, I'm sorry if I didn't answer. There's probably a reason why, but, I remember that and I want to be conscientious of that and try to not be that thing. So I try to answer as often as I can, but, we all start somewhere. And I think that's a big piece of it is that everybody is on their journey. And, I've had my own and, it's not perfect, but I think when I knew that it was working, Crisley was, and like I said, this is dumb as fuck, but in the same year, the guy that used to run Insomniac's bass stuff was a guy named Forrest.
That's a great name.
And most people don't, old people like myself know Forrest and how wild he was and how great of a human being he was. But he was one of Pasquale's really good friends.
I'm going to name my kid Jungle,
Are you going to procreate?
Dude, I'm going to name my accident Jungle.
You probably have kids right now and you don't know it.
Dude, I do know it.
There's some little Mitch out there floating around.
Michelle
in Poughkeepsie, New York or something. But Forrest, at the time, Crisley was really blowing up. He was like the it artist. And I remember I think I was in Florida, but I was in the elevator with Donnie going up to see Cruella. And the doors open. And this is like right after all the Insomniac, Disco Donnie stuff happened. That all kind of transpired like around Ultra Miami Music Week one year. And the doors open and Forrest looks at me and next to me is Donnie. And we just so happen to get into the same elevator. And Donnie's a great guy. I love him. And Forrest yells at me. He was like, "You're fucking done. I'm going to fucking, Crisley's never going to book him. We're never booking him again. You're a fucking moron for going with this piece of shit." Talking about Donnie. And at the time, we were weighing options with if we should do
Disco Donnie, for people wondering, yeah.
Yeah, a yearly with Donnie's stuff and take more his shows in that lane or, go with Insomniac. And Forrest just flew off the handle thinking that I had sorted this whole thing, and I was just like, no, I was just trying to go hang out with Cruella.
Yeah,
we all were. So, because at the time they were kind of on the verge of blowing up. This thing is annoying the shit out of me.
Your face is annoying the shit out of me.
Yeah, fair, me too. But yeah, and that was honestly one of the first times I realized, oh shit, I've made it. Chris has made it. We got options.
Yeah.
And then later that year, we took a private jet, and that was like, it's like, wow, he made enough money to take a PJ to 2 shows. And that's how I knew I was like on the right track. So
Dude, the PJs are the most gangster shit. Like I was watching like this New Year's, I was like Grizz and Subtronics. They both played like 2 festivals in the same night, and have to take those private jets to these different festivals. I'm just watching. I'm like, God, that's so cool.
well, that's like private jets are not like even remotely practical. Like the money that it takes to take a PJ is just like astronomical. And yeah, you can get cheap ones and small ones and this and that, but really it's more of like, the idea of a private jet is to simply get from point A to point B because there are not commercial flights that will get you there.
Right.
You can buy first class, what, $1,000?
Yeah.
Private jet is 35x that
Yeah.
on the low end. So, and then, multiply that times, let's say, a crew of your skeleton crew is probably like 6-7 people, 5 people. Okay, you're spending $5,000 on first class flights. Well, you're still spending $35K for those same people. And it's all about functionality. You do it because you need to get from point A to point B.
Yeah, but it
There's
doesn't
not a
change
flight.
the fact that it's fucking cool.
Or unless
bro.
you're just rich as fuck.
Yeah,
So,
dude. If
the
you're,
other thing.
or if you're, yeah, it's still as cool as hell, man.
Definitely cool.
Yeah, if I ever get on a PJ, bro, I'm going to I'm gonna join the Mile High Club, dude. Yeah.
Guy or girl,
It don't matter.
whoever's available.
Yeah, it don't matter, dude. I'm having sex.
Got it.
If it's just me and you on a private jet, I'm like, Loper, you know this is a dream of mine, dude.
Note to self. Be like, hey, I don't think I can go to this one. I know how you feel about sex on airplanes.
But dude, I bought us a private jet.
yeah,
I even brought
see.
a camera crew.
Oh shit.
well, then that would make sense.
My head got stuck in the turbines, dude.
I hope not,
Yeah, no, that would be bad.
because those planes are usually smaller and they're pretty bumpy.
Yeah, but they fast, ain't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's a plane,
Yeah,
so
that's whatever, dude.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Shit makes me nervous. That's for sure.
Yeah,
So,
you don't like
but
it regardless.
That was probably like more of like an aha moment for me.
I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I have options. Like, we're doing good.
Yeah, well, I mean, even then, like on the day to day of it, like like I don't, like I'm not hurting for clients. Like now at this place in my career, I can like pick up who I want. Not like I want you over here.
Yeah.
Sort of like Mortal Kombat, like coming over here, come here.
It's not. Yeah,
No, not like that, but like more of like, it's like I don't need to pick up somebody to serve I don't need to pick up somebody to serve a function because of the financial element.
yeah.
So,
I mean, you do have a pretty large roster.
yeah.
Is it ever too much to have like the responsibility of managing this many artists, especially whenever you manage an artist like Liquid Stranger, who is, just in his own realm, in his own lane right now, really, really pushing. I mean, the whole Wakaan movement. It feels like a fucking movement within like this weird thing that we're doing. Like,
Yeah.
with having someone as big as that, and then having like everything from like mid to smaller, everything in between, is it ever too much for you?
I think that's subjective. Yes, on the short answer, and definitely no on the short answer too. Because like I'm a firm believer in many hands make light work. 2 heads are better than 1. So like I have an assistant. There's another girl on my team that, also manages artists with, some of the clients that we share the responsibility for. Like, so it's like pretty, I don't want to say compartmentalized, but like, it's like everybody has their function. So it's like, even though I am the person overseeing the responsibility and the first one to get yelled at, a lot of these clients are shared or, breeze across it, my assistant. So it's like, it makes it so that it doesn't all just fall on me, because if it was just me and the artist and that many of them, I could not do that at all. But being able to distribute work to Bree and, Sam and Sam, works with me on like Trip Street and Ravenscoon and Vale. So it makes it so that it's like, it's kind of split up. Like I serve one function of this artist's, I'm more hands-on and like helping, deal with offers on some of those artists, but like I don't do as much like day-to-day, like talking every day about X, Y, and Z little thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, it's like, I kind of think about it as like, you ever see those people that like walk on coals or like, walk on tacks and stuff or like nails and stuff. Or
Jesus walked on water.
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. But, like people that like lay on like a bed of nails and they get hit with like a cinder block thing. The reason why that doesn't hurt as bad is because the weight is distributed across. It's the same reason a boat can float. So I kind of think about it like that. It's like we are across, like we kind of have this whole like bed of nails and it's equally distributed amongst the team.
It's not the size of the boat, it's the moisture in the ocean. That's what I always tell myself, too.
I bet that's what a lot of girls tell you, too.
That's what I tell myself, dude.
Dude, have you ever had Celsius?
Yeah, dude, I've
good.
cracked out. Like, I just got to a point where I can drink coffee normally, like on the regular. Because, like, I just would be ready to kill myself, basically.
I'm hooked, man. So delicious.
I mean, I'm hooked on, America's Finest. Password.
The first time I ever had PBR was at the fest in Florida when I was in my punk rock days.
Yeah.
It's like that's what the punk rock world drinks.
Dude, so like whenever I was in my punk rock phase, dude, we used to fucking make fun of DJs, be like, that shit's gay, dude. We used to fucking talk shit about these DJs, and now I'm one of them. Or you were like looking back on it with like, if someone was like, dude, you're gonna be a dubstep bass music artist manager, what would you say to that?
I would say I hope that means I would be successful. And to be fair, I managed a bunch of punk rock bands and hardcore bands, but my thing was that I like all kinds of music. To me, it was never it was necessarily about a certain genre. It was more about like wanting to get to a place where I could actually like create things and help people. And that was sort of the function as to why I kind of kept on doing it. But like, I get asked this question a lot, and they're like, when did you know you wanted to be a manager? And I'm like, I never actually like sat down and was like, you know what I want to do? I want to be a manager in music. It was always more like the next adaptation or the next thing that kind of like propelled the reasoning why I shouldn't stop. So it never was like this like overly thought out plan. It was just kind of like, yeah, I mean, I guess I'll pick you up. So, I mean, like, even with like Martin, and I don't know if I've told this story to you, but like, I was working with this guy named Lucky Date. He was like my first like electronic art. Well, technically, this group called Kids of the Bar was my first electronic client.
That sounds problematic, that name,
Now, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But
that sounds like you're going to get in
like
trouble.
my best friend, Chad, he was in this group that was like a blog house group. And
Wait, I got to pause you. Blog house?
yeah, it's like a, it's like
Tumblr house,
back in the day, like, like when blogs first started, like all these certain DJ groups would get blogged about, and it was called like Blog House.
Okay, gotcha.
So,
okay.
They did this like remix for like bingo players that like kind of like did really well and put them on the map. And Chad was like, yo, I'm like talking to this guy named Eli, who was one of like the founders of like So Sweet Records, which is like back in the day, like where La Castlevania started. And So Sweet was like back in the day, a really big, to us, a really big record label. And he's like, I mean, and there was like a threshold. Like if you made less than $5,000 as like a producer or electronic artist, like nobody was going to mess with you. There's not like all these like little teeny like independents now. But back in the day there wasn't. So he got connected with them. And then there was this guy named Lucky Date that, they were talking about doing a record with, and The guy's name is Jordan. He was managed by, I forget the name. His name was Craig, but I forget the guy's. He was a DJ too.
Gotcha.
And basically Eli was kind of like the ringleader and had created this like thing called Kill Pop with this dude that was on Cherry Tree. I think Cherry Tree Epic. I don't know. It was like a subsidiary of a major. And they had created this like little record label called Kill Pop. And Kill Pop was like, you know, one of the more first independent electronic labels I had. I didn't really listen to a lot of that stuff back in the day, but and so Chad was like, you need to talk to Eli, like, you know, he's the guy, he's like the man. I was like, I don't know what I would talk to him about, but like, I guess I'm your manager in air quotes, so I guess I will. And Eli's like, dude, you're pretty smart. I was like, well, I mean, I work in music, like I know what I'm doing. Like I can book shows. He's like, you're a booking agent? And I was like, no, I'm a promoter. Because at this is the time I was doing all these promotions and production and shit. And he's like, you should book me. I was like, I don't know anything about booking electronic artists. Not one thing. I've booked some shows through an agency and put them in rooms. I've done that, but I've never like actually like been an agent. And so that's how that started. And I was helping Chad with his Kids at the Bar group, got connected with Eli, started helping him just very loosely. And then met this kid named Lucky Date who was also on the label. Jordan went on like literally right after I started with Jordan, like a month later, he got an offer from Excision to go on tour. And on that tour was Excision, Liquid Stranger, and Lucky Date. And Jordan kind of made like very banger heavy electro house. And Jordan was like, dude, you should meet Martin. And that was how I met Martin. And literally for a year, Martin and I would talk, and he was like, you should be my manager. I was like, absolutely not. Like, I do not understand what you're doing musically. I don't get it. It was when he was putting stuff out with Jeff on Rotten. And I was like, I don't get this like mechanical stuff, dubstep that you're doing. But I really liked Martin, and our conversations kind of, we were kindred spirits in the ideology of how we viewed things. And that's really where, when we started working together, was because we realized that we're actually really good friends. And that was the foundation of me starting with Liquid Stranger. And honestly, like I would say even now, like, how do we keep it all together? Because you care about him. You know, that's why I go above and beyond. If I don't know you, why would I, more so than just person to person on like a humanity level, why would I bend over backwards? But for somebody that you care about, you'll fucking walk on water.
Damn it. And I'm just like, damn, so you're Jesus. So like,
You'll try, you'll drown, but you'll do.
I can swim good.
I'm a dolphin. I have a pool, so
I can just see you fucking just swimming up and doing a fucking jump.
I'm very buoyant. Yeah.
I just want to see you doing like a dolphin swim, just with that motion. Damn, it kind of goes into like, you know, the people say it's not what you know, but it's who you know. And like in that story, it kind of seems like a bit of both, you know?
Jordan was also somebody I was really close with. And if you have time, go listen to his music, because he was a phenomenal producer. Had a song with Ellie Goulding on Zed's Clarity record. It was the only collab on the whole thing. I mean, did really well. That's when I was like, that was another like aha moment. I was like in the Universal Studios, and they're like recording this, and I'm like,
It's kind of a big deal.
it's like so much fucking gear.
Yeah.
Like, what is all this shit? And I'm just sitting there like trying to look like I know what I'm doing. And there's like Zed and there's Jordan. They're having a good time, like, you know, doing their knob twists and shit. I'm just sitting there like, dude, do anything. Just like answer an email, sound important. Get on the phone. Go somewhere. Act like you know what you're doing. Otherwise, they'll figure you out that you don't have a fucking clue. But
Be like, yeah, you need some ad libs.
yeah,
If our love, is tragedy.
but well, what's funny about that is where. Have you ever heard that sample? Everybody fucking jump.
yeah.
That is Jordan. That came from that session.
No shit.
No shit. Heard it here first.
Is it everybody fucking jump?
Everybody fucking jump.
Why do you didn't say it like the cha-cha slide?
I don't know.
Yeah, he said it. Everybody clap your hands.
I did listen. I
really
did listen to that song yesterday.
Why?
I don't know.
Dude, I was
No, I didn't listen to that. I listened to your edit of it.
Oh, the cha-cha stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun one, dude.
Yeah. So, but that, like, even with that, like Jordan, like Steve Gordon, who is like the head of UTA with Gimbal, wanted to pick up Jordan for management and booking. That was kind of like his thing. And Steve's a great guy, but Jordan was like, no, you can be my agent, but like I got this Loper guy and I didn't know anything. I didn't know who Steve was. And he was just committed to me because of our friendship. And then, you know, he introduced me to Martin and Martin, that's been kind of like the foundation of like where everything has gone is like this. And Martin, and like everybody likes to think that Martin is like the sweetest fucking nicest guy ever. He's not. He is a fucking asshole. He is a cold-blooded killer. But no, he's a great guy.
Tell me how you really feel, dude.
No, but like, you know, that's the thing is like I think that like when you're really good friends with somebody, you can let your guard down. You can feel comfortable in a space. I mean, we go at it. Not as much now, but like 4 or 5 years ago, constantly we would like scream at each other. I think the last time we got into a fight was when we were car shopping for him. That was a big one. But it was out of like dumb shit. And like, you know, we were able to squash it and like, but that's the thing is like, I think that like, that is why we've done what we've done is because we're both very pragmatic people and being able to be heard, but then also see reason and identify being wrong or right is that we can do that. He oftentimes like, I'm like, you know, look, like I see where you're coming and that makes it so that sort of reason allows us to kind of get further and progress in whatever it is we're doing. And because of that sort of communication, we've been able to go on and do all these different things without honestly having that many, I guess, maybe issues. Like, you know, he trusts me, I trust him. And, you know, that's kind of been trickled down through with other clients. It's like, you know, like even when I'm thinking about signing somebody, I'm like, hey, you know, like if my roster doesn't like the person that I'm working with, that probably tells me something, you know? And like, I mean, I remember when I was talking to you about Janston and you were like, dude, yeah, no, you need to do that. And then I like told you at Mission, I was like, yeah, I think we're going to work together. And you, I mean, like, got weirdly excited.
Dude, because I fucking love that guy.
I know.
I'd do anything for that man.
But just think if like...
Not anything, but I do most things.
But just think if like I would have told you that and you were like, ooh.
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah. Yeah, that'd been weird, dude. And you're like,
Yeah.
is it because he's ginger? You don't
Yeah.
like the color of his pale skin.
But that's the thing is like now it's like, you know, there's a lot of checks and balances in this camp of being able to just like, okay, I know that they can vouch for him. I know this person vouches for him. I know this person, and if all these people that I know like this person, I'm probably going to like them too.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to think they're great. And that's what I'm really excited about as we kind of progress is that Wakaan has been able to, with Martin, just kind of allowing us to just take some risk. And, you know, it's risk for sure, but like it's been able to bring in a bunch of new people into the camp and find like-minded individuals that kind of have this ethos of what we believe in and that be kind of the focus. Not everybody, but that's been really cool. And that's kind of been being able to talk hard shit out, and being able to communicate about great shit and have vision has kind of been the, why I think it's kind of all worked.
Yeah, dude. I mean, honestly, those fights and arguments like you had with Martin are important. I know you and I got into it once. And
What was it about?
Oh, dude, wearing masks.
Wearing masks?
On stage, yeah.
Probably.
On stage. It
was on tour?
It was on tour, dude. It was me, you, and the TM. We were fucking...
Zane.
Yeah. We were fucking yelling and cussing at each other. And, I mean, we all shared our fucking thoughts on it.
Yeah.
And as you're walking to the bus, I'm walking to the bus, we're both angry. You're about to get down. I was like, Loper, we good? Yeah, dude, I'm just mad. Word. And it was just like, me too. But I was like, that was so much fun. Like, us fighting that time, I felt like it made us closer, dude. Like, looking back, like, a day later, I was like, man, that was awesome. Like, him and I had never gone at it like that. Like, that was fantastic.
Well, I think that's part of, like, even in, like, that kind of, like, small situation for what it was, my frustration stimulated from the fact of, like, it wasn't about a mask and it wasn't about you.
Mm-hmm.
It was about this bigger, larger issue at hand that if something were to go awry, then that would cancel a lot of other stuff that we had worked on. It wasn't an isolated, like, Mitch, you're a fuck, which you are, but, and I think you should be safe during COVID, a global fucking pandemic.
Yeah,
wearing a mask.
Wear a condom during COVID, dude. It's over. Fucking, we're taking them off. Fucking.
But it's like, it's more of like the bigger picture as to why. And I think a lot of times, like, we can have tendency as people to, like, kind of like focus on our own shit and be in our own shit and not understand the bigger issue at hand. And I think a lot of artists kind of get into that too. And they see it through one lens. And that's another reason why I'm here, is to kind of say, hey, listen, the reason why it can't necessarily be like that is because there's all this other stuff.
Yeah, no. And I get that. Like, I get the reasonings, but it was just like that argument that we had was honestly so good for us, man. Like, I literally walked away from it feeling good, dude. I was just like, I feel like you and I, like, we needed to fight. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you and Martin might need to fight. Like, that was like, I don't know. It was just kind of like a here's where we're at.
I think it'd be more weird if, like, you were in a relationship where you didn't.
Yeah.
Like, being with your significant other and you don't disagree. I mean, it's be like, you don't think anything that I don't either? Like,
right,
you fucking
peg
kidding me?
Like, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. Why
Like,
won't you peg me?
And it's like, but it's like, how do you move forward with that? Because it's, and that's the thing, is like, I think that, like, that's really the testament to a relationship, is not necessarily if you disagree or get along, but it's more of like what comes of that and how that's handled when it happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dude, I mean, like, fights will settle shit and make you feel good. I know me and my fucking brother got into fights, man, and it was great for us, man. I love that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get hit in the mouth.
Yeah, but sometimes you need to get hit in the mouth.
I think
you know what I mean?
I think a lot more people do need to get hit in the mouth, especially in this day and age.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, a lot of times people, I get like
Mike Tyson said it best.
Yeah, dude. What'd he say?
He said everybody's got a plan until you get hit in the mouth.
Yeah, dude. Sometimes you need to get your ass kicked to, like, be like, yo, why did that just happen? What did I do wrong? Oh shit, I was wrong there. I was totally being an asshole. I deserve to get my ass kicked. You know what I mean?
And most people don't. I don't think most people, like, even have the wherewithal to, like, understand and get out in their own way and, like, think about something from a different, perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in music you kind of have to.
Yeah.
So
one thing,
if anything,
Yeah. You were talking about how whenever you met Martin, and it was just kind of like, all right, that's how we kind of, built this camp or whatever. To go from being an artist manager, and I mean, I get all the skills from being a promoter, kind of going into, like, building relationships and, understanding how to put together offers, to that translating into being a manager, to say, hey, we're going to fucking start a label. What was, like, the hardest thing about doing that? And I feel like there's a better question than that, actually. what was it like being able to sit down and say, we're going to start a label? Because, I mean, you were talking about how earlier there wasn't like these independents, right? It was just like these big managers and big agents. But to say, we're going to start this independent label, what was that like? And what was the biggest challenge? I mean, for you, even talking about with Martin, you're like, I don't understand this, what you're doing, these weird dubstep sounds, to saying, hey, we're going to start a fucking dubstep label.
Well, I didn't say it. He did.
Yeah.
And I told him it was a terrible idea.
Really?
Oh, yeah. First conversation, he's like, I'm thinking like, and you know, everything comes from function, right? So like, when you're hungry, you eat. When you want to party, you drink or do drugs. When you want to fuck, you find somebody. Like, everything has a function. And, you know, how Wakaan came to be is no different. Like, I was shopping a bunch of records and I was talking to a bunch of different people, and there wasn't necessarily like, I mean, I think at the time there was like really only like Never Say Die was like more of like the only like bass thing. Smog with 12th was kind of cooking, but you know, it's like, it just, everybody kind of still had their own sound. Disciple, I'm sure, was around, but like I didn't know any of them. Like, and then Ultra was putting out like big records, and like they were like the full spectrum. There's major labels, Big Beat and stuff like that. And like, really everything kind of came, Monster Cat, that was one that's been around, but like really it came from function of like nobody wanted to put out Liquid Stranger records. And the reasoning was not because they didn't like them, but because they were confused. So some of like the bigger labels would like more of like the melodic sort of elements. And then they'd be like, yeah, you know, like when I got to the drop and it just was like,
Man, that's hard, dude. That's a good drop.
they were like, I don't get it, you know. Whereas like some of like the bassier stuff were like, yeah, it's cool, but like it's a little too like wimpy in the builds, or you know, whatever. And so like Martin was like, we were trying to figure out what we were going to do with all this music, and we didn't have a home, we didn't have a place, and he was just like, there has to be like more people like myself, like that are just like confused as fuck as to where to release songs. I'm not the only person that is probably going through this. And he was like, I think I'm going to start another label, or a label. And I was like, oh, great.
Like, fuck.
It's like, it's a ton of work. It's going to fall on me. Wonderful. I was like, that's a terrible idea. Like, what do we know about running a record label? I was like, you sat here and tasked me with all these other things that I'm supposed to be doing as a manager, and all this stuff that I know that I need to do that you don't even know that I do. And he was like, no, I just like, I feel like it needs to happen. So he like kicked that around, you know, for a while. And he landed on Wakaan. He was like, I'm going to do it. And I was like, okay. I was like, but look, I was like, my focus is going to be still Liquid Stranger. And so like in the beginning, it was very much just like him doing Wakaan by himself. And the things that he would sign would be out of like, you know, he just like tap friends, like, and because he didn't, you know, it's like it's kind of like you can't just like start tapping people, be like, hey, everybody, I started a record label, come over here and sign here. People already have situations and relationships set up, and so you don't want to be that guy. And so then at the time, this guy that I was working with me on like a couple projects, a guy named Eric Geetson who does Schlump and some other people, was the first label manager. And Eric started and just was like, I think too busy with some of his clients and didn't really work. And so I was like, all right, you know, and at the time it was like my old partner and I was just like, we're going to just take over and help out for a month. We'll give it a month. And then it's been a very long month. So
2 festivals later, fucking
yeah, it's kind of like grown into like this just thing. I mean, like we haven't like choked it out to like turn it into something that it wasn't supposed to be. It's all happened kind of very organic. Like, you know, when we first started releasing records, it was like we didn't necessarily know what we were doing. We had to shop around for like, you know, multiple different distribution deals to try to figure that out. And you learn a lot by going through the function. Like a lot of people ask me like, how do you get started in music? I was just like, just do it.
Yeah,
like
go.
Act of doing is like, it will teach you what to do and what not to do.
Yeah, go fell a couple times.
Yeah. So, and so, yeah, that like we started with just like friends being like, oh, I saw you release this thing on this Wakaan thing. And it's like,
Wakaan.
It's Wakaan.
I thought it was Wakaan, dude. I'm not
Yeah.
going to lie.
And that's kind of just like evolved. And you know, I think probably like our first like big sort of, I guess like, I don't know, like Space Jesus was on the label for a while. And that was a turning point because he was doing really well. And at the time I managed him with Eric actually. And, you know, him and Martin were really close and they weren't. And that kind of, you know, that was like kind of like a turning point in the label's, you know, focus. And then, you know, we had another big turning point was like the Peekaboo G-Rex song with Babatunde. And I remember another aha moment for me, I went to Lost Lands that year and I think I heard Babatunde or some version of it, like maybe, I think I counted like 29 times.
Fuck.
And I was just like, good Lord. And the song slapped. And so, you know, that was like you know, and we've been able to like kind of like champion these like people that do it their own way, kind of as Martin has. And that's kind of like only been kind of like the only sort of like parameter. Like, do we like it? Do we think it's good? Are they seemingly good people? You know, and you like, I think Martin said, like, you can't, like, put up cams in people's room to find out who they are fundamentally, but, like, were they good people at the time? Did they turn into shitbags? Sure. But, you know, we just try to simply be a vessel. Like, instead of, like, signing everybody and their dog, it's more about trying to help in the capacities of where these people need it.
Y'all could be the first label to sign a dog. Yeah, could be. You know? You ever thought about it, dude?
No.
No, I don't know why you would. But I'm just saying, for everybody and their dog. What's it been like managing the expectations for the label as it's grown, right? Because, you know, obviously, you know, there's been people, you're talking about seeming like good people weren't at the time, but even like the expectations of like, you know, song titles. You know, I remember whenever Wakaan was going through this thing because they all had a guy release a song called Ketamine and people were freaking out about it. And I thought it was the funniest fucking thing because I remember my song Drugs was coming out right after it. I remember you calling me and be like, hey man, we got this song and you released Drugs right after. It might catch some heat. Do you want to do it? I'm like, hell yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think I managed you at that time though.
No, you did not. I don't believe. No, but you were just kind of giving me a heads up, you know, like, hey, we're catching some heat from a song title and your song's called Drugs. I'm like, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, cause I thought it was stupid, but but the thing is, as you get bigger, you know, the expectations and think people getting mad at you for certain things, you know, that's going to happen more. What's it been like managing those expectations and making sure you know, keep everyone happy?
Well, that was the first time, at least that I remember, and I'm sure there's probably others, but that was the first time I remember being like, oh, it's like cancel culture. Like everybody trying to like jump down our throat over a title of a song. And for the record, let's address this. A record label does not choose the song titles, the artwork. They do not choose that. Some record labels might. I don't know if they do, but we don't. We simply are a vessel to try to create great art. And if the artist wants to call his song Ketamine, that is his choice, and it is his prerogative. And if you made the song, you don't have to call it that, and that would be your prerogative. But I'm sorry if you had some sort of terrible experience, you had a sister, brother, cousin, aunt, whatever, that OD'd or whatever, but that has not much to do with us. And I don't want to be, it's not that I'm not sympathetic to that, but like we as a label, our focus is on allowing the artist a free space to do what they think artistically is right for them. And we try to back that up. We don't always we're not always going to get it right because we are flawed. But at the same time, I feel like it's better to fight for something like giving them their voice and opinion for their art than be super concerned about X, Y, and Z who's upset with us because we allowed them to. I would rather them get mad at us if they don't like a song title or a cover art or whatever.
Yeah, dude,
But,
have you ever listened to rap music?
well, and that's the thing is I think a lot of people are sensitive, and I'm sure there's a lot of context as to why, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that if that's how you feel, but like just because maybe I or the label or your brother or your mom, whatever, doesn't necessarily share that same perspective doesn't make me wrong. And that's the biggest thing is like, especially like with politics right now, like you like Trump, cool. That's your prerogative. You can like Trump. I don't, but you can. So it just, I feel like ever since that whole situation, it's gotten very, very, very sensitive. And it's just like, we do art and we want to give artists a place to release what they want to release. Now, obviously there's certain subject matter that we just don't condone and we won't support. But guess what? If that's the case, it's not going to get out. It's not even going to get past the first threshold to even have a conversation about. Drug usage is something that is a personal choice.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of our take on it. That said, what was the question?
It's just like, how do you manage the expectations from the fans?
Okay, so the expectation of, are we talking specifically related to releasing records?
We can go, let's start with the records, then I do want to talk about the festival because you talent book for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the records are, it's like, I was reading something on Twitter the other day, which I don't do very often, but there was like some dude that was commenting about how Wakaan was busted and he just was not into what we were putting out. Cool. That's fine. Don't come listen. I'm okay with that. You have your opinion. And I think that's the biggest thing for us is that if we like it, we'll release it. If you don't like it, you don't have to listen to it. Furthermore, if you want to push out art that you like, go start a record label. Go do your own thing. Cool. We need more of them. Lots of other people do that. We're not saying that you have to buy into what we're selling. We're not saying you need to listen to the records. We're not trying to cram it down your throat. Wakaan serves a function for people that want to listen to this sort of music. And the people that want to listen to it will listen. And the people that don't have to. What I'm confused by is why somebody wants to be so critical about what we release or what we don't release, as opposed to, like, why voice that? Like, if you have a suggestion, cool. Like, I'd be happy to, like, hey, you should really look into this kind of artist making this kind of music because it's fucking awesome. And I really think that you'd vibe with it. Great. That's
a good suggestion.
Yeah, I can take that, and I'd be happy to look into it. But at the same time, like, if you are just, like, voicing this opinion about, well, this shit sucks, and I think you guys have fallen off because you're not doing X, Y, and Z. Cool. Well, that's your prerogative, but respectfully, fuck off. We think we're doing great.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing exactly what we think we should be doing. Because we talk about this often. And maybe this is going to ruffle some feathers, but fuck it.
Let's do it.
What if we didn't exist? What if we just said, hey, you know what? All this bullshit that people are saying, you guys are right. No more label. No more Wakaan, no more Sasquan. What would people say then?
No.
Would they be pissed? Would they care? I don't even know. But everybody wants to come at people and voice their opinion and be heard. And it's like, I get that. But, like, I almost feel like sometimes, like, we've lost the idea that there's these people that sat in a bedroom trying to make a really good song to make you happy, then found a record label. That record label thought it was cool. They worked tirelessly on it for the better half of 3-4 months to then release it in the way that the artist had envisioned, and then it comes out and this little shit who doesn't know how to make music just blasts it and being like, fuck you, this shit sucks.
This sucks, your music's gay. I've heard that a bunch, yeah.
It's like, how is that contributing to the conversation? You know, and that's the thing that, like, I think probably rubs me wrong the most, but I'm also, like, very much, like, focused on, like, tuning that out and just saying, you know what, like, we support the artists that we like. We release the artists' music that we like, and we'll continue to try to grow and adapt and learn and support, because we do feel like this is a communal sort of thing. But, like, if you don't fuck with it, I don't need a comment about it. Just fuck off and go somewhere else and fucking listen to that shit.
Yeah, dude.
That's it.
If you ain't got, it goes back to what my mama used to say, dude. If you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all.
My 8th grade teacher told me that there was one rule in our class.
What, don't pull your wiener out?
No.
Oh, sorry. You can do that.
Where did you grow up?
Mississippi, man.
Makes sense. It was be kind.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, like, I feel like people forget that there's all this time and effort and money that go into supporting these artists. Like Martin, I don't think people know this, but Martin doesn't even make any money from the label. Every single dollar that the label makes on his songs goes back into the label. This is something that he does because he believes in it and wants to support art and wants to bring people up. And I think a lot of times, like, the flip side of the coin would be terrible if we just, like, shut down and we were just like, oh, you know what? Fuck you guys. We're out. We're not going to do that. But when you're not into what we release, when you're in a bad mood and you want to fucking go vent on Twitter or whatever it is, be conscientious about the fact that, like, not everybody shares your opinion. You might not be right. And those people that like what maybe said person X, Y, and Z is doing, maybe they like it. And that's good enough. That's what makes art cool.
Yeah.
So maybe you don't necessarily have to, and that's cool. We might not have to match up on what we like. Maybe I don't like some of the stuff you like, but I'm not going to be a dick to you because I don't like what you like.
Yeah.
So it's pretty fucking juvenile, actually. But
and that's like the new thing with, I feel like that's just the new, music day and age. You know what I mean? Back in the day, people weren't bitching about Kiss because they didn't have damn Twitter.
Yeah.
If you liked Kiss, you were going to a Kiss concert. Kiss didn't hear the haters, you know what I mean? Unless it was like a magazine,
The thing is Kiss isn't even good. But, like, you know what? If you like them, great.
Go to their show,
because
man.
the thing that made Kiss cool was the fact that, like, they put on a great show. Yeah. I don't even like Kiss, but, like, I'd go see them sure.
Fuck yeah.
So just because it's different.
Yeah, so
unique.
I'm not listening to
do.
ICP, but, like, if they're coming around, I'm going to go see the Insane Clown Posse, bro.
I would probably go.
Yeah, it'd be awesome, man.
So I don't know what a juggalo is. I mean, other than watching that thing.
Whoop, whoop. Yeah.
I did have to look into that. I was just like, this is, like, weirdly similar to what we do.
I'm like, yeah, dude, y'all are the Wookalos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like kindred spirits.
Yeah, dude, I'm like an in the closet juggalo, I'm gonna come out one day, but, like, I'm still in there fucking yelling.
You'll find your way.
Yeah, dude, one day.
So yeah, that I mean, managing expectations is really not something that I buy into. I think for us, it's like wanting to simply be a vessel that is worthy of putting out what we put out. Like, we're grateful for the people that want to release music here. And we work really hard to make sure that it's the very best that it can be. And sometimes on records, things fall in our favor and it works really well and it pops and it moves and it helps the artist and that works. Sometimes we get it wrong. Sometimes the artist gets it wrong. And we all have to collectively pull together and lick our wounds and try to go back and do it another day and make it better.
Yeah.
So that's the only expectation that I feel like we have. Like, I feel like we provide good music for the people that choose to listen, and it is a choice. And if we can continue to do that, I'm humbled by the fact that people pay attention to our records, and I'm humbled by the fact that people spend their hard-earned money on our clothes. And I take it personal when I can't do it as to the best of my, I can't yield the best results that I can. I mean, even a guy today hit up, the Liquid Stranger forum on Facebook and was just like, dude, I'm bummed because like I haven't gotten a response. We saw it and addressed it right then. Did I have to? No, I just got off a plane. I'm fucking dragging ass. I'm terrified about dying. But that's the differential of what you do when you care. And I think that's, I'm not a saint. I'm not a martyr. I don't want to be that. But I don't want people to think that we don't give a shit. We don't take it for granted. We know that you have a choice, and we try to make the art and the music and the merchandise and the festival and the releases and the experience and everything else pertaining to that as best as we can afford and or can give. And we will not rest until we can continue to progress on. So
Fuck yeah, I love that. I've got a great question, but I got to take a piss, bro. We're taking a piss break.
Let's take a break.
Yeah.
All good.
But now we're back. I wanted to...
And we're back. This episode sponsored by Celsius.
No, it's not. No, it is not.
PBR.
Yes, still not. But I mean,
PBR is coming.
they're coming.
Celsius is
We
can
have...
sponsor me as a influencer. Is that what they call them?
Yeah, as a gang member.
I read actually an article today about influencers actually starting to go downhill.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's true, but
Yeah, I know. I don't know if you can just believe some fucking article you read.
I mean, it was on the internet. So it's got to be
it's true. That's what Abraham Lincoln said. If it's on the internet, then it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was in the Gettysburg Address.
Yeah, dude. Fucking, he was signing the Declaration of Proclamation while fucking like looking at Twitter and being like, "Oh, dude, we should do that."
1863. Just think if he would have listened to all these people on Twitter being like, "Don't do that. It's fucking shit. Bad idea."
He'd be like, dude,
Be like, dude, we're talking about freeing people,
we're talking about freedom.
freeing souls.
Yeah, we're talking about democracy here. All right, but I did want to bring up because you might not have to expect, you might not manage expectations for the music, like, because you're thinking about the artist whenever you're doing it. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously you're thinking about the people too, but you're like, this is dope. We like this person. We think this is a cool idea. Let's support it. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for you being a talent buyer at a music festival,
Yep.
to where you want the people who are going to this music festival to enjoy, the lineup they've created. What's it like managing that type of expectations? Because I know this past year was the first year you had bands. Like, I fucking stoked whenever I saw SDS9 on the lineup.
Yeah.
I remember I was like, you didn't fucking tell me shit, dude. I was like, you didn't tell me a fuck. I didn't know. I had no idea, but I was so hyped, man. And it was crazy, like, how much it like cleared from like going to like a DJ to a band on the dance floor.
Yeah. Well, and look, I think when Martin started Wakaan, his vision was that as Wakaan progressed, it would eventually progress musically as well. And I think like anything has to have progression, whether it be negative or positive. It's a vehicle and it has to go somewhere. So the intention is always to be trending upwards, for sure. But I also feel like, and we all do, like, there's a sense of responsibility to also make sure that people aren't missing something that we think that they might be into. And like, there's a lot of things that I wish I knew, and things that I learned from people. I mean, Bree gave me an email the other day, or sent me an email with like, I don't know, like 40 some odd artists. And I think I had heard of like a third of them. That's cool. Like, I love that. Like, that's helpful, because like, I want to know what's coming. I want to know what people are into. I want to be able to book that. I want to be able to release records with those said people, as long as it kind of fits some certain criteria that we have at the label. But from a talent buying perspective, I also feel like it's like we kind of have a responsibility to, obviously create a great lineup that people are willing to spend their hard-earned money for, but at the same time, like, also make sure that it's unique to what it is. And I feel like even like the posters and the art and the lineup in itself is a living, breathing thing that needs to be curated and, like due diligence and due process needs to be put into thinking through what not just maybe one kind of group of people might like, but like how can we bring some new people into our fold? Because there is like synergy amongst different genres of music. And that's why we thought, STS9, excuse me, would be kind of cool. Like they're older and maybe some of the younger kids don't know about them. I even at the time wasn't like a super, super familiar person with like what they did, but I like what they do musically, and their manager and agent are just gems of human beings, and the people in the band were like, they were awesome. And, it's like, it was cool to do it from the perspective of like, maybe it was something new that maybe people weren't as privy to or educated about. And if, one or two or 5 or 20 people, went and bought their merch, went and bought a tour, or saw them on tour, then, I think it was worth it. Like we ended up doing a record with them, and, it's really cool to be able to do some things that with this platform that we've created, things that also excite the people that are running the label. Mm-hmm. And, I know for Chloe, that was like very much like a bucket list sort of act to be able to like work with.
Dude, when I saw him on the lineup, bro, like I can't tell you how many times I've seen him. Like I'm a massive fan.
Yeah, I mean,
them motherfuckers jam, son.
Yeah, and even like Barclay Crenshaw, like
that was cool as shit too, man.
We were talking about that on the way over here. Like he just dropped a mix from his set at Wakaan and a new remix or a new song today I think it was. And well, not today, but yeah, I guess.
Yeah, today.
In the recording of this, yes, it was today.
Yes.
You'll hear about it next week.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But it's like maybe people didn't know about that guy, because they know about his house project, and that is cool to be able to like do something a little bit different. And him and Martin are talking quite a bit, and it's cool to like bring in some new people into what it is we're doing, and that that's cool and fun. It's energizing.
What's his main house project?
Barclay Crenshaw.
Anybody? Claude Von Stroke.
Yeah,
dude, because I didn't know who Barclay Crenshaw was until I was watching the set. And then it was, I think it was Michael Pearson from SFAM told me who that was. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah,
this is Claude Von Stroke. You know how cool that is? Like, that is like a fucking passion project. You know what I mean? Because he's killing it on Claude Von Stroke. He could have just done that forever and been happy. To go and do like a bass music shit, like that's like a pure passion project. He's awesome.
To my understanding, Barclay was how it started, and then it became that, and then he did a bunch of Dirty Bird stuff, and started that whole label and stuff like that. But that, like, it's funny, like people are like, what label do you kind of like most, I guess, like kind of compare yourself to? And a lot of people would think like Deadbeats or something like that, but it's actually Dirty Bird, because I feel like the way that we view ourselves and the way that they view themselves are a lot more similar than, maybe us and somebody who also does like-minded music. Mm-hmm. So it's very like DIY. And that's cool to me.
That set was cool as fuck too.
Yeah,
man. That's super cool. Yeah, it was awesome.
So,
but like, whenever it comes to that, like, are you listening to those, even if it's not like a suggestion, just like those negative feedbacks, like whenever it comes to like a lineup that you're booking, like, yeah,
absolutely. Like it, and that's the thing with the festival, because of what the festival is, like, you have to pay attention. Like the biggest thing, the first year we did it, because the first year was 2019. Then we took basically 2020 off because of the pandemic. And then things started bubbling in 2021, and everybody was like, are you going to do it? Are you going to do it? And like, we had like emails, texts, calls every fucking day from like different people. And the answer was like, no. And the reason why is because the label itself is self-funded. Like, it costs a lot of money to put that thing on. And we hadn't worked in, a year and a half. We can't just take that huge punt without potentially taking on a partner or an investor or something else more so than what we already had. It was too big of a financial risk. And since we are a small little independent thing, we couldn't even afford. I mean, we probably could have done it, but like it wouldn't have been smart to do. Because if it would have flopped, I mean, there would have been no festival this year. Like, I mean, our business manager would be like, absolutely not. Can't go in debt. So, from that perspective, we have to be critical about the festival. We have to pay attention to the feedback. And actually, the feedback in 2019, going into the next year, or the next year that we did it, the number one feedback was, don't make it too big. Don't make it something that it's not. What makes it special is it's this unique little thing.
Dude, it's straight up the gathering of the Wookalos, man. I'm telling you. It really is just like a big old, like, it felt like the biggest family reunion. It didn't even feel like we're at like a, mainstream music festival. And it's not, but like it didn't have that vibe at all. It just felt so laid back and just a good, it was a fucking party, man. It was a good time.
It was a great time. And look, that doesn't mean it was perfect. Like, we're super critical. I mean, like, look, anything that any person who attended or didn't attend has negative feedback on to say, I promise you, we've thought about it tenfold. Long before we read your comments. I mean, Martin walks the site. We drive the site.
Yeah, he ain't walking, dude. He's on a cart, dude. What you talking about?
I mean, walk the site is, figuratively speaking.
He's got a fucking cart with fucking spinning rims on it and hydraulics, dude. That'd be super cool.
But
Gold
like,
rims.
I promise you, like, we've already thought about it. We've already addressed it, and we are already in the process of changing it. Like, and like, if there's something you don't like, just like from a perspective point of view, that's different than like something being safe. We didn't book your favorite artist, whatever. Like, I get that. Like, to keep this fresh and interesting, we have to create, because here's the thing, like, think about it from this perspective. EDC, Electric Forest, all these huge festivals have this, they have all these different stages, right? And on all these different stages, there's all these different genres. There's only 2 festivals, at least in our world, that don't have that. Do you know how hard it is to create a unique, diverse lineup within one genre?
Yeah, okay. I never thought of it like that, dude.
So I can't have X, Y, and Z artists play every single year. That was cool.
Yeah, I'm fucking spitter, I guess.
Well, past Blue Ribbon right there. You can't have every single artist play every single year. They're on cycles. And look, we're going to have some people this upcoming year that weren't on it last year. And there's going to be some of the same. There's going to be some different folk. And that's how it has to be. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to think that this year's lineup is any better than last year's or the year previously, or you think it's going to be better. And look, there's going to be something in bass music that's a little bit for everybody. And that's kind of the goal. Within this sphere of what we do, there will be artists you like. That's kind of the general idea. Is like, we book the people that we think are cool, but we also want to book the people that fit best into what we do in this world. So, just that's kind of the idea. So,
yeah.
And that's the expectation, is to try to grow and make the infrastructure better, make the site better, create more art, create more opportunity, create more activations, create more things for people to focus on and learn and pay attention. But,
like a comedy show.
Yeah. And, from who's playing, it's like, that's always going to be a revolving door because you have to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I know it's I can't, like, just managing an artist to say, all right, I'm gonna manage artists and manage a fucking music festival. I mean, not managing the whole festival, but I'm gonna book the talent for it, bro. That's just biting off a bunch, man. Like, I know whenever it was like crunch time for Wakaan, it was like Loper's busy. I'm gonna holler at him whenever if I really fucking need him. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I'm busy.
And you know, that's the thing is like I think that's like where it helps to have understanding clients and people that kind of know what you're going through. But then B too, like that's also why a lot of the people that I work with also are on the label because they understand the nuances of like that I also run the labels and I run the festival. Well, and I don't run the festival, but I book the festival and am essentially Martin's person who speaks on his behalf on the label with the partners. So, but because of that, it's like, you know, leading into the festival, October is fucking busy for me. And it's, you know, the reason why it works is because the artists that I also represent are also on the label and they're also a part of the festival. And so they get it. And, you know, that doesn't mean that I'm like completely tone deaf to like the things that they have going on outside of the festival. But I just have to be a little bit more selective about what I distribute and put off to staff and then what I have to jump in on because I'm fucking getting reamed.
Yeah, getting rimmed.
Yeah. No, reamed.
Oh.
Not rimmed. Fucking pervert.
I'm fucking getting rimmed, dude.
Reamed.
Reamed. You should say rimmed. That's better.
Is it?
I don't. Yeah, it actually. Yes, actually, yeah. But no, man, I was. Yeah, that it sounds like a lot, but it seems like you got your head in the right place and like the mindset of like, you know, how to make it cool, how to make it special, but also not being too big.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
giving you shit you also don't know that you want. You know,
we're not going to expand the footprint anymore. Like even if there's another sort of like area where people could camp, but it's just not practical.
it's not the vibe.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, like if we're going to continue on with this, look, and that's the thing is like Wakaan Festival is a choice, and it's a choice by the partners. Like we're not promoters. You guys got to understand that. Like I'm not a promoter anymore. I'm retired from being a promoter.
Yeah.
But like we want to make it great. We want to, you know, have this special event kind of as like our crown jewel, but we're not promoters. So we're not going to know all the, you know, things that Insomniac or Disco Donnie or Electric Forest are going to know. Like you experience those things and then you're like, why the fuck would we do that? Like it's idiotic. Like it's trial and error, you know? So like, as you progress in your journey with throwing a festival, you get better at it, just like everything else. Mm-hmm. So I'm a better talent buyer than I was 3 years ago. I mean, like I do, which is, it's a weird job for like a manager. Most of the time managers don't send offers, but like, you know, everything from like Wakaan takeovers to the festival to Martin's tour to, you know, any sort of major lineup within our world, even with your lineups and Champagne Drips, like I'm fairly influential on most of those. Mm-hmm. And you know, most of those offers are sent directly from me. And, you know, I want to obviously, you know, in talking to the artists, I get their requirements of who they're thinking and what they're wanting to do and who they want to send offers to. But at the same time, like, you know, you also have to be creative and like, you know, present ideas that, you know, will make hopefully the show or the tour or the lineup better. So helps to be informed.
That's a good tip. It's a good point as well. This has been a great conversation. We do have some fan questions I wanted to get to before we got to them. Kyle,
People actually called in?
Yeah, we got some horrible ones for you, dude. Your questions suck. We did have a couple good ones, and those are the ones we're using. But Kyle, did you have anything you wanted to ask Mr. Lope Dog?
Yeah, sure. Both of you guys have been in the scene for a while now, and I know you can omit names all you want, but I wanted to ask this specifically you, Loper. What is a green room story? Do you have a green room story that comes to mind of just a night where like it just everything all at once, you know, just happening and you're just dealing with it the best you can?
Are we talking like a bad story that was like chaos and bad things were happening and I had to fix it? Or are we talking about
Either or.
one
like
night
just,
where I was litty titty doing things?
Yeah, either or. Just like, holy shit, I can't believe this is happening either in a good way or in a like bad way. You know?
Loper in New Orleans, dude.
I mean, in New Orleans, have you heard that whole story?
I mean, I've heard stories, dude, but I don't know the whole story.
I mean, in New Orleans, I had been drinking some tequila, but like what was weird about that was actually after we got back to the hotel, because we were staying down the road at this hotel, and I went back with our LD, and we had a bunch of pellies and gear and stuff that he was also dropping off because we had to fly out the next morning. And this dude was like, you know how like at hotels there's like the sliding doors?
Mm-hmm.
There was 2 sets of them. And this guy just happened to like walk up right when we did, but we were like kind of in front of him. So we went ahead. But we had, you know, like I had 2 pellies that I was hauling and RLD had 2 pellies, and like basically he said, I don't even remember what he said. I just saw red, and I had been drinking a decent amount, and like he popped off and said some shit, and basically it was just like told Wes, he was like, get the fuck out of the way. And I don't know what, like I just flipped.
Oh shit, I did not hear about this.
And I got in the dude's face and I was like, I will fucking end your life. And I don't know where that came from.
You're a big dude, dude. If you're coming at me like ready to fucking scrap, I'm gonna apologize.
And Wes jumped in between us and was like, no, like we're all good, like chill out, Loper. And like I was like yelling at him, and like I don't know. It was a bad night. I mean, not a bad night.
It was a great night.
It was a great night, but it didn't end so well. And then like the next day I like woke up feeling guilty about all the terrible shit I had said to this person. Like I think it was more of coming from like a protective place. Like I thought he was like trying to step to Wes, and like I automatically went into like dad mode of like, I got it.
Yeah, you're not gonna talk to my people.
Fuck your shit up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I almost fucking killed somebody in the lobby of the hotel. So
That's incredible, dude.
in the green room.
Yeah, the green room. You're happy-go-lucky, dude.
Yeah, I was A-okay.
Dude, yeah, I had never seen you that like happy to be somewhere in my entire life,
You
dude.
know, it's like there's sometimes like it just like all just comes together, and you're just like, you know, like, and that's the thing is like, you know, like even in my position, like there's certain people that I like just don't want to see, that stress me out. Like I am a person, like. And I remember that day specifically, I was like kind of like a little pins and needle about, you know, the performance and, you know, finally knowing that we had like some of like the nuances of like getting the logistical side was a little stressful, and that, you know, that worked and it was a good show, and everything sold out, and that getting through that was just kind of like, I think I relieved myself with the bottle.
Yeah,
So,
I just think the New Orleans got you, you know?
yeah. I didn't even get any beignets that time. That's what pissed me off.
Yeah, dude, that will, yeah. They got them in the airport now, brother.
Next day, 6 a.m., 7 a.m., you don't want to eat a beignet. I mean, I probably would have.
Yeah,
but,
you definitely would have, too. But I would have ate one, too, man.
but, yeah, I don't know.
Rock on, that is a good story.
I can't think of any other. I'm actually pretty tame.
Yeah, dude.
I just figured working with the artists that you have a crazy roster of past clients and stuff. I just figured you must have seen or been a part of something every now and then. That's just like, this
really,
is crazy.
Really where things went off the rails with Crisley and Caked Up. Like they were really good friends, because Jeff in Caked Up is also from Texas, Austin. That's where Chris lives. But Oscar punched Chris in the face. And that night was a debacle.
Wasn't it on stage, too?
On stage.
Yeah, I remember you telling
no.
me the story, bro.
Yeah.
God, that's so crazy.
Yeah, it was on stage, and like the promoter was actually filming it and leaked
we
it
need
to the
that.
press and all the blogs, and I was just like trying to figure that out. And then I have like Chris was really upset, and like Oscar was, he was on a bender, and Jeff was trying to figure out what happened, and I mean the place erupted, and it just that day and the following were
That's gotta be nuts, dude.
a nightmare.
I'm playing on stage and I just get punched. Or I'm gonna go. It's like that guy that tried to attack Dave Chappelle when he was doing comedy. You know what I mean? Did you see that?
No.
This guy ran up on Dave Chappelle like last year or something like that while he was doing a stand-up show, and he's got hired security.
Yeah.
Even Jamie Foxx got in on it. They kicked this guy's fucking ass, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
dude, people are. I mean, and also in this day and age, it's like people like bombing clubs and like coming in with guns and shooting people. Like oftentimes, when I am on stage, like I'm not really focused on what's actually happening, like in the actual set. I'm actually looking more in the crowd, making sure that there's not fights, making sure some dude's not gonna pull out a pistol. Like a good friend of mine was the tour manager for what are they called? Damage Plan, Pantera's side project.
Word.
And he was the TM when they were in Europe, and he got shot. And that is like the guy that like kind of helped train me in understanding like the beginnings of like humbly like music business, right? And we were really good friends, and you know, he told me this. He doesn't talk about it a lot, but he told me a story, and hope I'm not. I mean, he's not gonna watch this, so I don't have to worry about it.
Not that
but,
attitude. He might, dude.
But that all said, like he's a great guy, and like he's taught me a lot over the years, and you know, like honestly, like every time I'm on stage, that's kind of in a weird way that's in the back of my head of like what I'm kind of focusing on is like making sure that there's, you know, like it's like sometimes like you're like, oh, I don't know, all of a sudden mosh pit starts and there's like some like 4'2" girl in the middle of it that just randomly, you know, gets just destroyed, and you know, people are not always super aware. It's just like things like that, like more of like security threat risk type stuff that I'm looking for. So
Yeah. Right on. That is a crazy story, though.
weird, I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. Let's get some of these fan questions, Kyle.
You got it.
Yo, what's up, Loper? Just quick question. I was interested in knowing more on tips for producers to find the best management for themselves and their style. Thanks. Love Wakaan, dude.
It's a great question.
You got any tips to find a
It's-
manager?
Don't look for one.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
was gonna say.
I think if you're an artist, don't look for one. I mean, you know how you and I started working. You know, you're not my first manager. I hope you're my last, but you weren't my
God.
first. Yeah, you're not my first. But like the thing is like how we started working together was very natural
Yeah, in a very weird
in a very weird way.
in a very weird way.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I remember chatting with Martin. I was just like, dude, this, like, and you know, like, I don't want to maybe speak too much, but like, your previous manager's a great guy, and he has the best intentions, and I think he's actually a pretty smart dude. But like, he was a handful. Like, he just didn't necessarily know how to always say the right thing. Not the right thing, but like the appropriate thing to further your career. And, you know, I remember a conversation. I was actually out at Martin's when we had that big conversation about you. And I remember being in his backyard talking to you, and I was just like, dude, I was just like, at this rate, I don't even know if I want to sign another record. Like, if I'm being super honest.
Yeah, I got kicked off Wakaan, man.
Yeah, you almost did, actually.
I thought I did.
Yeah. Well, you did.
Yeah.
But then you worked your way back into it. So it's arguably one of like the things I'm most bummed out about. But
No way, dude. We've done good shit, man.
I mean, that's what I want you to think. But you know, I would probably say, like, you know, I know that it's hard to idly not be focused on looking like everybody else. But the biggest thing I can say is like, do your own thing, work on your craft, make that as great as it humanly can be. And I wholeheartedly that the right people will find you.
Yeah. I think you also have to be careful on who you let into your circle. You know what I mean? That was a lesson that I learned, you know what I mean? And I'm sure you've learned that lesson many times in your life as well. But, I say let it come to you. And if it does come to you, even though it comes, doesn't mean it's the right fit. Doesn't mean it's the right thing. I think if you do dope shit and like if something that you think is dope, other people start thinking is dope as well.
Yeah.
And you get good at it, people will come. If you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just because they do come doesn't mean that you come too, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And a lot of people ask us like why Wakaan doesn't accept demos. And that's the exact reason. Is because like, look, we didn't set out to like be like have this prerequisite of like you send us some music and then we give you feedback. And I feel like Martin's old school, so that's kind of like the thing of what it's supposed to be is like if somebody's willing to send you tunes, you should respond. And that's an obligation that we didn't ask for. But if you do things correctly and there's enough people talking about you and it's bubbling and things are happening, then that will take its course. And those people, I believe, will find you. And look, on the flip side of it, for managers, like the best thing, people ask me, how do you get started in management? Find somebody, help them. That doesn't mean that you're their manager. Doesn't mean that you should have that requirement or that responsibility, but just get busy, activate, help, pass out flyers, do hospitality, just do something, get involved. And that's what I always tell those people too.
You just dropped a fucking gem right there too, man. You need to mark that one. That's a clip right there, my dude.
You can do a short of that and put it on TikTok before it gets shut down.
Yeah, right, dude. Before the Chinese regime takes us off. All right, let's get to another one.
You got it.
Yo, what is up, boys? This is Dustin, a.k.a. your boy, Little Trust Fund, calling from Wisconsin. And
You know him?
I'm
He's
just
a man.
curious for Loper, is there a genre of music or maybe a band that you're really into that we maybe wouldn't expect coming from such a legendary member of management of the, Wakaan Liquid Stranger team? So, yeah, what's a genre of music or band that you're really into that we probably wouldn't guess just from what we know about you so far? So, love you boys, love you from Wisconsin, stay strong, and we'll talk to you soon.
My favorite artist in this order, currently right now, Johnny Cash. Number 1.
I would not expect that from you.
Number 2, Bob Marley.
I would not. I could see you like a Pantera,
Number 3, Fleetwood Mac.
Bangers.
This is some hitters, dude. But I could just see like fucking Pantera, then Metallica. I don't know.
I love Metallica too. I love heavy music, but like I like all forms of music. Actually, like my guilty pleasure, and it's not even guilty. I tell this to everybody. Like, and I'm still actively looking for an artist in this lane. But like my Achilles heel, if you will, is a better way to put it. Like, is actually like super electro-y, electronica, power pop,
like I said,
bubblegum vocal, female-fronted vocal bands.
like a Zed band.
No, like this band called The Sounds. I love this band from Sweden called The Sounds. I loved them before Martin. Before I even knew who Martin was, I went on tour with them, with Kids at the Bar. Love the band. I love Tara Jr. I love very great female-fronted vocal hooks in like bubblegum electronica, like power pop type stuff. I love that genre. Yeah, I love hyper pop, if you will.
Wouldn't expect it from you.
I know. Like I'm a sucker for a good melody.
Me too,
So,
man. I love some catchy shit. I love me some Mariah Carey, dog. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
Touch my body, throw me on the floor,
I'm not.
wrestle me around.
I would probably say my least favorite genres are hip hop and country music.
Oh, dude, I love. Then you're gonna fucking hate this EP I'm writing.
Oh, I know.
right now.
I fucking hate it. I listened to it the other day.
You don't like it, dude?
Hate it.
Oh, it's so much fun, dude.
Hate it.
I showed Kyle, and he was like, "Dude, this is so sick, dude."
Yeah, Kyle doesn't know what he's talking about. When he starts managing a bunch of artists, he can fucking weigh in.
Oh man, it's a good time, man.
You can't trust me. I'm the yes man for this guy.
Yeah.
See? Come on, Kyle. Where's fine? Tell him how bad it is. It actually is really catchy, and it's actually really good.
It's fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I played it for Martin, and I was like, "Are we gonna sign this?" He's like, "Abso-fucking-lutely."
Let's go, dude. Because I was wondering, I'm like, I'm making this EDM EP. Is this Wakaan?
I mean, the man does not show his teeth when he laughs because it's not how he laughs. When he heard the songs, teeth were shown and he laughed.
Let's go. That's what I wanted, man. I wanted it to be just a good time.
In like Flynn.
Yeah. And like Flynn?
In like Flynn, yeah. Just rhymes. I don't know.
I don't
know who Flynn is, but he's in.
Okay, word. Oh, in like Flynn.
In like Flynn.
Word.
Yeah.
All right, let's fucking twirl, girl.
Yeah.
Let's get to the next one.
This will be the last one.
Only 3 questions. Huh?
Hey, what's good, Taboo and Loper?
Loper.
This is Dylan from the beautiful state of Arkansas.
What up, Dylan?
Currently residing in Dallas, where I'm calling from now. Hey, I'm just curious for the both of you, if you had to choose 3 artists that have impressed you the most over the past year, 2022, who would they be and why? Definitely bonus points for any more obscure artists that not a whole lot of people have heard about. You know, just something that has really impressed you, whether it be their work ethic, their sound design, anything, whatever it is they're doing. So, looking forward to hearing you guys' answers. Hope y'all have a beautiful 2023. Keep killing it. Peace.
Appreciate you call, Dylan. That's a fun one. I got 3.
Go for it.
All right, first one's a band, Bad Omens. Fucking amazing. They put out a new record. It's called Love is the Death, the Peace of Mind, and the Peace of Mind. I forget the name of the record, but the album is fucking phenomenal, dude. Every song on it just hit. Other one, I don't know this guy, but watching him's been crazy. ISOXO.
Mm-hmm.
Felt like he's really bringing back festival trap in a fun and fresh way. Like, I mean, he had like Skrillex go on stage with him, RL Grime, like him and Knock 2. Like, I think what they're doing with trap is really fucking cool.
Yeah.
And then my number 3 is going to be Import, just because like he makes dope music and this content he's been putting out is fucking hilarious. And it's just goofy, and I vibe with that hard. Yeah, that's my 3.
So, first, I would say probably, maybe I'm biased, but the people that are killing it are all my clients. So, all of those take the cake as the collective number 1 slot. I mean, obviously, Paul, Becca, Sully, you, everybody's having a huge year. Cannibalist has been playing a ton of shows. Martin's doing well. Neil is about to fucking go on this, humdinger of a tour. Like, everybody's, like, Jansen, I just started working with him, but I'm super excited about that. So, shout out to my own clients. Gonna plug them because I love them. Other people that I don't work with that I'm just overtly impressed with. I mean, I love Tape B.
He was up there for me on that too. But
And I don't know how new he is, but like, I think because of the pandemic, he's just now starting to get some juice. I'm very into him. I got some. Chef Boyer Beats, I am very into. Like, I got a playlist from him the other day that I was enthralled with. Let's see. There's this girl from Australia that we have started putting out records with that I just absolutely love, named Rinzuki. I think her production is just top notch, and I really enjoy her songs. And then, there's so many good artists right now. I mean, like, I am curious to see what happens kind of over the course of the year. I feel like bass music, even though there's a lot of great artists, I'm curious to see kind of like what the next wave is looking like.
EDM, dude.
I don't think it's going to be that. No matter what you might say.
Dude, if we just get a bunch of like Morgan Wallen fans, like a bunch of country fans coming to Wakaan Fest because of EDM, dude, that's a win, dude.
They're going to get turned away. So, yeah, I mean, I would probably say those. Those are probably the front runners for me.
I have one more I want to throw in there is Comus. You know, it's fucking, dude, I watch how he works, man. He's one of the hardest working dudes I know. And the music he's been making is fucking phenomenal. He showed me 2 songs today he wrote this week, and I'm just like, these are so fucking good.
Dope.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw him in there. But cool.
Love Comus.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Well, that's it.
That's it. Well, see you later.
No, dude, no, man, I really appreciate you coming on the show today. You know, I've talked about having you on the show for fucking years now. I feel like
Said no for years.
and we finally did it. Thank you for doing it.
Cornered him.
Yeah, it means a lot, dude. Means a lot you sitting down and doing this with me, and it means a lot for all the things you've done for me personally. You know, I've learned a lot from you. You know, I have this, you know, deep respect for you. In a weird way, you have like a father figure respect from me. You know what I mean?
Thanks.
In a weird way, like, but it's also like a lot of disrespect too. Just kind of how it is with my dad too.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
So let's go ahead and just keep it real. All cards on the table.
Okay.
Okay. And then we can just cut after this, right, Kyle?
Yep.
All right. So the real reason I'm on this podcast is because if TVBOO said that I did not do it, he would terminate me as a manager. Everybody, it's been real. TVBOO talks. It's been fun.
I did. I said, come on this show, or you're fired, and I'm gonna make up rumors about you. You touched me.
Put it on Twitter.
No, man, but I really do appreciate all the things you've done for me in my career, and you're a joy to work with. And
Thanks, man.
I trust you with my life and my career, and and you know, I feel like I'm in really good hands, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. You know.
Thanks. That means a lot. I do work really hard at it. You know, I do, even though maybe it doesn't always appear that way, but I do take this very seriously. And, you know, I feel very blessed because I'm able to work with the people that I do, and that makes my life better. I don't go to work hating that I have to go. Yeah. I go to work energized. And to be fair, I also get to work at, like, you know, 5:45, 6 a.m. because I like it so much. So even Bree and Kendall and Chloe drive by on the weekends. They're like, he's there again. What a fucking psycho. It's because I love it. I'm committed to the cause.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I appreciate you, man. I wouldn't be where I'm at in my career if I didn't have somebody like you. And I think the industry and the scene's better because you're in it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Now, if we can just get you to not do EDM, we'll be good.
It's happening, dude. It's going to be fun, dude. It's going to be fun, dude. That's the whole reason for it.
Wakaan 2024.
EDM. Well, no, man. Like I said, I really appreciate you for being here today. And I appreciate you, Kyle.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle. You were awesome.
Yeah, you're great. And I appreciate everybody listening to this weekend. What?
Listening to this week. Look, this TVBOO Talks. I just want to say thanks for listening. It's been real. Coming back next week with a new episode. See you then.